So I've got this Audi S3. The young man blasted something on the road. If you can see this here, these are just comparisons, but you can see when you look at that, it's better on the ground with the wheel on it, but there is a lot of negative camber and there was significant setback as well. Kind of eyeball, that's all I can do is eyeball them, you know. Axle setback. If I compare to the other side, it's got negative camber, but it's not like that left side. I compared where that strut piston is in relation to the coil spring. That one's pretty consistent. This one, if you can see my lousy camera, this is set back as well. So the strut is definitely bent. Damage here says, yeah, it was on the left side. But what I noticed is I didn't see any kind of frame damage. But I looked up in where the frame mounts, the subframe mounts to the frame, and you see how I got new color there? I come back again to another mounting point to the frame. New metal there. Other side as well. And again, where's my other point? That one looks okay. So the subframe shifted as well. I don't believe it's bent. I've looked all over it. I don't see any cracks. Aluminum's gonna break, but it looks like it shifted. So what I recommended was a control arm, a strut. I'm gonna try to adjust that frame, loosen everything up and adjust it, and see if I can't get this corrected without sending it to a frame shop. So I was able to capture most of that movement, as you see. I come back to this back mounting point. You see where I marked it. So I got a lot more color, the gap where it was at. So again, it didn't move a lot, but it did move, and that would have thrown off all those measurements, especially when it comes to alignment time. And that was just a matter of loosening all those subframe mounting bolts, taking the load off of that transmission, and then that mount is still loose there because I'm going to remove the control arm. But yeah, so now we get the control arm, we'll get the strut replaced. And again, I just whacked it here with the rubber mallet to knock it forward. It was not that bad. So you may be able to see how badly bent this strut is. Man, it took a lot. You can see the wrinkle as well, but it is badly deformed and bent. So it's a good call. Yeah, you got no lip here, but you got this smashing here. I mean, he hit something very hard. Don't make the mistake that I did. Call it what you will. Just another way of getting it done. You are not going to get that bolt off on the other side of that axle without it being on the ground, removing that cap, and breaking it loose with the weight of the vehicle on the tire. Good luck. Good luck. So I took it apart as it is there, and come up here and I can take the bolts now out of the top of that mount and then remove this. You are gonna have to lower that subframe just a bit, support the transmission to get that control arm bolt out of there. It's not a big deal. Just be easy, careful with it, it'll come out. Resecure it, put everything back down, load it, and go back to work here. So we've got the parts from the dealership, genuine. Everything. This is the control arms. I got them butted up with each other. If they are bent, it is minimal. So yeah, but this, I mean, look at this bend, this flare, pinch, bend, whatever. It's bad. So we're gonna get this piece back together, and there's your struts up next to each other, significantly bent. So I've got everything installed, and there's your after, almost 90 degrees straight up, better than the other side here, passenger side, close. But again, control arm, strut assembly, and then the bearing and the mount. Everything's been locked down. Compress this or take the slack, basically tension it before you lock those down, It'll last a lot longer, those bushings, but we're gonna get it out for alignment. There we go, this is finished product. This one looks real good. Probably should have did both sides because he's clearly hit something on the other side, just not as badly as this left side, but that looks good to me, real good. Other side, yeah, he's a lot more negative. So anyway, old parts. So I guess point to this one is that you can do this. These don't have to go to the body shop. Don't be afraid to take these if after you inspect it, you don't see frame damage and it is something that you think that you can fix mechanically just by replacing parts, sending it out to an alignment. So this was a good job here. I'm happy with it. Secure all my stuff up here. Down the road it'll go. So I couldn't get this aligned at any local shop here. It's too low. And so I use my bars that I use for Jeeps and G-Wagons, and we're gonna do this manually. And a little bit of a pain in the tail, but we're gonna make it work. Initially I had 67 1/8 down here, and then moved them, and I had 67 1/2 over here. So just some quick math. If I start at that 8 and at half, quick, I got 3/8 of a difference. 3/16 is half of that. And so what I was able to do, if you see, that's about as close as you're gonna get. 3/8, you can just count them down. I'm actually at, that's 5/16. So if you count it down 3/16, it's an 1/8. And then counted it up from 5/16 to 1/2 inch, that's 3/16 as well. So I'm dead on for half. We're halfway on that. So what I'm gonna do is I'll lock that down, and then to center the steering wheel, because it's likely not gonna be straight, is I'll mark all of these, and one is gonna go in, and one is gonna go out, but they'll be even to get everything straight and drive straight. It was so close. I call it 1230. So what I ended up doing is I made my marks, and because the toe adjustment is gonna be behind the axle, we shortened it here to pull it in, to thus pull the steering wheel to the right, and we lengthened this one. So that would be kicking it out, kicking us right. So basically just two notches. So let's drive and see what it does. So here we go. What I'll do is I'll just try to find me a nice flat level spot in the middle of the lane and see what it does. Yeah, it don't get any straighter than that. So we're good on that adjustment. So I'm happy with that. She's driving straight, considering that the right side has that negative camber. It's noticeable. It's not that bad, but that negative camber is what would pull us to the right. The side with the least or most negative is where it's gonna pull, but nonetheless, we don't have a crazy pull. So I'm straight. There's your view from the outside. The wheels are nice and straight. There you see that camber, that negative camber there. But again, it's true. And it's driving straight, so we're gonna send this one down the road.